The New York Giants, in a surprising move, actually retained GM Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll. In a nightmare season, finishing with only 3 wins, where they let their prized running back Saquon Barkley walk for nothing, and he's flourishing in Philadelphia en route to a 2,000-yard season. They didn't have the best offseason. No, in terms of trying to stop the bleeding, I mean, I'll give Joe Schoen some credit. Bringing in Brian Burns and drafting Malik Neighbors were great moves, but outside of those 2 players and Dexter Lawrence, they should definitely be fielding phone calls or looking to get out of contracts for those players that I did not name. The Giants are a mess, and with this nightmare season, they have a lot of questions that remain to be answered. With this being basically their last ditch opportunity to save their jobs, they're gonna have to, one, probably find a signal caller to take over the offense as they let go of Daniel Jones mid-season. Great move right there, giving him the bag and not Saquon, and only to cut him 18 months after signing him to that massive deal. But we're talking about the management of the New York Giants. When the Giants had an opportunity to essentially tank the season, they won a meaningless game with Drew Lock leading the way, and that win is going to cost them for years to come. They had an opportunity to have the first overall draft pick, but the win against the Indianapolis Colts meant that their positioning would drop to the worst in the 4th spot. Now, their loss to Philadelphia in Week 18 did help their odds to get to the 3rd overall position, but the way it's looking like with the QBs coming in, it's expected that either Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward would go number 2, and then the 3rd overall pick would be somebody else. Travis Hunter is one hell of a consolation prize, don't get me wrong. He's a very talented 2-way type of player. I expect him to be quarterback when he comes into the NFL, but the Giants need a quarterback, and if they don't have a quarterback coming into this final year, then what's the point of just ripping off the Band-Aid and starting anew? But John Mara decides that he's going to give these 2 one last chance to right the ship, and it's going to be all hands on deck for New York, especially with Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen as the GM, to make some moves, because right now with the Giants, they look utterly lost, and they have a long way to get out of this rebuild to get back to being competitive in the NFC East.